And everyone's good?
Yep. Thank everybody for being here. I am Detective Gadiel Loss, spelled G-A-D-I-E-L, last name A-L-A-S. I am a detective with the Robbery Unit here with the Austin Police Department. Today we're here to talk about two separate aggravated robberies involving French Bulldogs that happened over the weekend. We'll go into the first one, case number 25033-1132. This occurred in North Central Austin at the 1030 Norwood Park Boulevard Walmart. At approximately 5 p.m., our victims were in the parking lot and had a brief interaction with the suspect, who was identified as Servando Cruz Jr. After the interaction was coming to an end, Servando took a Bulldog puppy from the victims, produced a handgun, and fled the scene at a high rate of speed. Victims wanting to get their puppy back chased Servando, and Servando, who was driving the red Corvette, chased him for a little bit, and ultimately the victims ended up crashing into a wall. They called APD patrol officers in the area, located the Corvette a short distance away, engaged that in a pursuit, but obviously it's a Corvette, it was pretty fast. Patrol officers called the robbery unit, and I fielded the call as the on-call detective. There were leads made that night. Servando was identified as a suspect, and I obtained 3 warrants for him that night: 2 for aggravated robbery, 1 for evading in a motor vehicle. On February 6th, yesterday, we, with the help of the Austin Police Department SWAT team, the Violent Crimes Task Force, and robbery detectives, we conducted 2 residential search warrants, one in Dale, Texas, in the early mornings, where we were able to recover the stolen puppy, handgun, a stolen rifle, and the stolen Corvette was on property. Unfortunately, Servando was not on property and has not been arrested at this point. We are asking for the public's help in finding Servando. Later on that night, case number 25033-1337, at around 7 p.m. in the 1100 block of Shady Lane, which is Central Austin. Our victim was walking his 2 dogs in the apartment complex when the suspect, identified as Roderick Harvey, pulled alongside of him, had a brief conversation about his dog, at which point Roderick produced a firearm, demanded the French Bulldog. Obviously the victim didn't want to give over his dog. Struggle ensued. Roderick shot him in the foot, took the dog. Both dogs were on a double leash. Roderick's actions of jumping in the car with the French Bulldog, we know is Freya. The other dog was still leashed up, drove off for a little bit, and he unfortunately the second dog was dragged underneath the car for a little bit. He is fine, some scrapes and bruises, but the victim tells me he's in good spirits. On February 4th, with the help of our Violent Crimes Task Force, the Elgin Police Department, Bastrop County Sheriff's Office, and robbery detectives, we executed a search warrant in Elgin, Texas for the suspect. He was arrested. In his possession was an AK pistol, an AR pistol, a revolver, and about a quarter ounce of illegal narcotics. At that point, Freya was still outstanding. February 6th, yesterday, we conducted a secondary residential search warrant in Bastrop County based on leads developed in our investigation of Freya's whereabouts. Freya was not at that location, but that led us to a second location. Speaking with the residents on that location, sent us to a second and a third and a fourth. Finally, we reached a family member of Roderick who promised to help us out. At about 7 p.m. last night, that family member got in contact with the robbery detectives and told them he was in possession of Freya and was willing to meet us to hand her over. Freya was recovered, secured, and delivered to the victims yesterday. I do want to take a moment to highlight the outstanding work of our Violent Crimes Task Force. They are comprised of 8 highly trained and skilled officers, 2 detectives, and a sergeant. They're the tip of the spear when it comes to locating and arresting Austin's worst violent crime offenders. BCTF officers are highly committed in the mission of keeping Austin safe. There's no doubt in my mind, regardless of the work detectives put into these cases, the Frenchies would not have been reunited with their families. For these Frenchie cases, since Sunday, BCTF officers conducted surveillance at 5 different surveillance in 5 different counties, executed 4 residential search warrants, seized 3 rifles, 1 revolver, 1 pistol, and a quarter ounce of illicit narcotics, and reunited 2 dogs with their families. all in the meanwhile working other violent crime cases around Austin. I'll take some questions now.
Were you the one who got to deliver the dog back to the family, Freya?
Myself and other detective and some patrol officers, yes sir.
You guys can raise your hand. We'll start with Kelsey over here.
Yeah, I had a question just because it is dealing with two of the same breed of dogs. Is this something you guys have just seen on the rise, or is this something just pure coincidentally?
So since 2021, there's been about 7 different French Bulldog robberies. When you compare them to about 1,400 robbery cases in Austin, very minor. But I think it is a shock to the conscience, right? Our dogs are our family members, so it does weigh heavily on people.
What is it about this breed of dog that is so attractive?
Their monetary value. Other than being really cute, they do have a high monetary value. If you get a Frenchie from a reputable breeder with papers, they cost about $8,000. If you're doing a Facebook Marketplace deal, anywhere from $2,800 to $3,000.
I have one question. Hi, nice to meet you. I am independent journalist for bilingual population, but right now I have the question in general. What is the rate for robbery in Austin if we compare this year with the last year?
Are you talking about how many robberies have
Yes,
there been?
is decrease, is
Well, we're only a month and 2 weeks into the new year. I know last year we had close to 1,500 robberies. As a robbery unit, we have over 50% clearance rate on robberies, solving them, which is almost more than double the state average. As far as this year, I don't have any numbers for that.
Oh, yeah, but my next question is how the community can help and work together with the police, residential, commercial, or whatever, for get down these situations, robbery in Austin in general.
Sure. I think speaking to the individual, the best practices is kind of always being aware of your surroundings. Know what you're doing. Try not to be distracted in your phone, headphones in your ears. If you're doing Facebook Marketplace deals, do your best to take screenshots of suspects, Facebook profiles, phone numbers you're doing to communicate with them, cars that they're arriving in. That helps us on the back end, but I think just on the front end, to avoid being a victim, just try to do your best to be aware of your surroundings.
Here, we'll go back to you, Angela. Yeah.
How often are Frenchies or dogs of any kind stolen in these particular areas? Is this part of a trend or more one-off instances?
No, not a trend. Specifically speaking to last Sunday, these were completely random acts, but done by completely random people. Again, since 2021, there's been about 7 French Bulldog or dog-type robberies. I don't know what the numbers are for regular thefts. If it's a robbery, it's a theft with some type of either firearm or force used, or threat force used, which makes it a felony. I don't know what the numbers are for the misdemeanor theft part is.
Were any shots fired during these incidents?
Yes, in the second robbery, the 9 on Shady Lane, unfortunately the victim did sustain a gunshot to his foot.
What should people do if they're threatened at gunpoint for their pet?
I would say always comply with whatever it is that they're doing, and let us try to help you on the back end.
Can you help people understand that? Because, a lot of people, their pet is not their pet. It is their kid. It is their loved one.
Yes.
It's like, here, take my baby.
Right.
No one's going to do that. So.
No, I completely understand. I have 2 little pit bull mixes myself, and I would do anything to keep them from being hurt. But at the same time, you're not only putting yourself at risk, but you're putting other bystanders at risk. If something like this is happening in a highly populated area, you never know what could happen to any other people. It's hard for me to say it personally, but give into the commands and let us do what we do.
We'll go to Kelsey and then over here.
Is there anything that people should look out for? Because you did say that Servando has still not been arrested.
Yes, so Servando has ties to Bastrop County, Del Valley, and in Austin. His whereabouts are still unknown. We don't know. We have some leads that we're following, but we just haven't been able to track them down just yet.
Did chips come into play in this in either of these 2 cases?
No, but that's a good point. If you microchip your dog, obviously that chip's going to be registered to the owner. That helps in the back end. A lot of dog breeds kind of look the same, so if there's ever a discussion of whether, no, that's my dog or my dog, the chip is ultimately going to tell us actually who's the owner.
As we picked up the puppies, what was the state of the puppies? Were they frazzled? They're okay?
So the first puppy that we affectionately named Timmy, he was super excited. He's never met a stranger. a 6 to 7 week puppy. He was in good spirits. Freya seemed to be very elated to be leaving the place that she was at.
So that guy's for that case, he go inside the resident. So no,
These all happened outside.
outside the resident,
Yes.
but it's almost around the resident, the community, the people living. So what is the prevent if some person saw that situation? How I can handle that situation because the guy have 2 guns.
Sure. So in the instance for the second robbery on Shady Lane, there were multiple people outside. My recommendation is be the best witness you can, whether it's pulling out that cell phone and making some recordings, trying to get the best description of suspects or vehicles possible. That, for this case in particular, was huge help to our investigation.
We'll take one more question.
Is there
What are some
any
red
evidence
flags people
that
should
there
look
are more dogs being stolen by these two? Is there a dog ring going on, or were these just one-time acts by these guys?
I don't know if these were one-time acts. Based on the search warrants that we did at these residences, there was no evidence to suggest this is a ring.
We'll do last
Red
question.
flags for people that might be looking to get a dog and they see a, you know, I mean, you said they're pretty expensive dogs and they might find a cheap price. I mean, what are the red flags that people should be looking for on that?
Facebook profiles that were probably made not too long ago looks pretty new. You know, almost 0 friends on their friends list. We always suggest if you're going to do a Facebook marketplace, whether it's for a dog or a refrigerator, do it in the parking lot of a police substation or some first responder area where there's going to be good lighting, a lot of good witnesses. Somebody who's hesitant to meet at a police station, they probably don't have good intentions.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank
Are you
you.
guys going to send those pictures to?
We have them in the press release. The one